follow up with my question with the president yesterday. I asked him about transparency and access for journalists into some of the facilities at the border. The president said, I will commit when my plan is underway to have access. It sounded to a lot of people like he was saying, I will let more cameras in once I'm satisfied with the conditions. How is that consistent with transparency?
That's not actually what he meant. I'll first say we did allow access, including an NBC camera, exclusively into the shelter facility on Wednesday. And we're committed to increasing access and doing additional pools, making it available, these facilities, including the Border Patrol facilities, as well as the shelters. What he was conveying is right now his focus is on moving these kids out of these Border Patrol facilities, right? And making sure it's done in a way that keeps them safe and keeps everyone safe. That does not imply that we are not going to allow access until that is done. It implies that is his first focus. So thanks for asking the question. That was his intention.
Time frame for when, and noted that NBC did go in as pool. Do you have a time frame for when the next round of cameras might be allowed in?
Oh, we're working on it, hopefully soon, and it's something we're certainly committed to, and we're just working with DHS and HHS on when we can make it possible. Go ahead in the back.
So obviously they're on guns. Obviously there's lots of pieces of legislation the president is advocating for. But when he spoke yesterday about priorities, some gun control groups felt frustrated. They felt like he was saying gun control is not a priority compared to infrastructure, compared to Build Back Better. What's your response to groups who took that message away from the president's comments yesterday?
Well, first, the president understands their frustration, and he understands it as one of the few people in government who ever beat the NRA twice by leading the fight to pass the Brady Bill and the assault weapons ban. He understands as a person who led the effort at President Obama's request to strengthen gun measures after Sandy Hook, and when that was voted down, helped put in place 23 executive actions to combat gun violence. You'll see more executive action, as Josh and others were asking about, and that review's underway, and more efforts by him and the administration to move forward in the weeks ahead, whether that is on legislation, supporting efforts that are happening in states, which we've seen is very effective and impactful, and largely due to the advocacy and activism of a lot of these groups. But, you know, we would say that the frustration should be vented at the members of the House and Senate who voted against the measures the president supports, and we'd certainly support their advocacy in that regard.
And on the border, Secretary Mayorkas has put out a statement saying this is the highest pace of border crossing in 20 years. Yesterday, President Biden made it seem like this is not too unusual compared to other previous years, that in terms of the number of people trying to cross the border, it's about average. Those don't seem to square. How does the administration view this in terms of whether this is precedented or whether this is an increase?
Well, the president was making the point that we have seen increases at the border in 2014 when he was the vice president, 2018 and 2019, and he conveyed that over the last 6 months of the Trump administration, there was an increase of about 31%. We've seen an increase of about 29% over the last several months since he took office. So the point is, we've dealt with this before. It is often seasonal. It is often cyclical, and he just wanted to convey that in his effort to communicate and provide educational information to the public. But that doesn't change the fact that he is addressing this by putting forward every resource at our disposal in the administration. Just in this past week, we've taken steps to bring a number of new facilities online, from Fort Bliss, where there are 5,000 beds, to Lackland Air Force Base, where there are 350 beds, San Diego Convention Center, 1,400 beds. These 3 sites alone provide at peak capacity an additional 6,750 beds. One of our biggest issues, as we've talked about before, is moving these kids out of the Border Patrol facilities into the shelters, and we need to have places that are safe, that have educational resources, health resources, mental health resources, legal resources. This is a step toward doing that. The other piece where he has been very focused, as we all have been, is on expediting processing at the border. And earlier this week, the Office of Refugee Resettlement also instituted a revised policy for certain children who have a parent or legal guardian in the United States. This will add more capacity and more swiftly unite kids with relatives and sponsors. So, of course, there should be a difference if it's a direct family member, a mother or father, and a different kind of adult, right? So there are steps we're taking to try to expedite even the processing. So our focus is on actions and solutions. We certainly know this is a challenge. It's something he is briefed on regularly and is pushing his team to take more rapid action.